Okay, so now we're going to talk about the trigonometric functions. And before we do that, I want to go over the relationship again from the last video to make it more clear. If we look at the unit circle here, and we say, okay, given the relationships we talked about in the last video, let's define a variable t such that t represents the distance on the curve, right? So the arc length, in other words, from 0 to t. So t will always represent the arc length starting with the standard angle, right? So the standard angle. So, and then obviously each point also represents an xy variable, right? Where the x is the vertical distance, or excuse me, the horizontal distance, right? So this would be x, and the vertical distance is y, okay? So like that. Now, visualize this. Notice how as the point, for example, let's say this is a movable point that can slide all the way around the circle. Notice that as this point slides from 0 to t, that also x and y, those variables are changing, right? Because here x and y is at 1, 0, right? But then as t moves to this, now x has gone in, right? And y has gone up until it reaches to the top, where now x will decrease to 0 and y increases to 1. And then as it goes down the circle this way, now y is going to decrease down to 0 as x increases to 1. And so you see that both x and y are functions of the variable t. Okay? So, these coordinates are then used to define the 6 trigonometric functions of the real number t. And those 6 trigonometric functions I've listed at the top here. Sine, cosecant, cosine, secant, tangent, and cotangent. Those are the 6 basic trigonometric functions that we're going to learn. Okay? And so what I'm going to do is define those for you. So sine t, so we're going to do sine t. Now I'm going to abbreviate these the way we do in mathematics. So this is how you would write out it in words, right? But when we actually write the function, we don't write out the entire word. We use a shorthand notation. So again, if I'm writing it out in sentences, I'm talking about the function, we would use these words. If I'm writing out the mathematical expression, then we would use what I'm going to write down now. So this is sine t, right? So now, typically, you can see it with parentheses, because remember, we want to write it as a function. So until you get used to it, it might be good just to write the parentheses so that in your head you realize that this is a function. It's the sine of t, okay? But as textbooks and as we move on, they'll drop the parentheses and you just have to realize that it's the sine of t. Now, sine t is equal to y. Cosine t is equal to x. Tangent is what? It's y over x. Okay, oh, by the way, obviously we can't have x equal to 0, right? Cosecant. We abbreviate that this way, CSC. Okay? Cosecant is 1 over y. Obviously, y cannot be 0. Secant. Oops. Is 1 over x, where x cannot be equal to 0. And then cotangent of t is x over y, where y cannot be equal to 0. Now, these are the 6 trigonometric functions based on the unit circle. Okay? Note that the functions in the second row, well, not the second row, but the second half, I'll put a partition here. Okay? So the functions in the second half, in the bottom half, are the reciprocals of the corresponding functions in the top half. Okay? Sine and cosecant, right here, these two, are reciprocals. Cosine and secant, these two, are reciprocals of each other. And tangent and cotangent, these two, are reciprocals of each other. Okay. Okay, we'll stop there. And we'll continue on in the next video.